I've been investing in real estate for almost 7 years. I currently own 18 rental units, have done 6 flips, and I got 8 more going on right now, and I've also helped thousands of other investors get started. So in this video, I'm gonna condense those 7 years of wins, losses, and mistakes into one focused lesson with 7 core tips for you so you can get started and scale your portfolio. The first one is cash flow is king. There's been a lot of debate around this one more recently because certain people from bigger pockets and other platforms have said that cash flow is not king, that appreciation and the wealth that you get from real estate is actually the king. And when it comes to the amount of money that you're actually making, they're right. But the key thing here is that cash flow is the lifeblood of your business. Without cash flow, your business is dead. Yes, real estate investing is a business. And if you lose money, because, here, let me draw this out for you. If every month you got a house and the rent is $1,000, but the costs are $1,500, you lose $500 a month. Well, you might be able to deal with this for 5 months, maybe. Maybe you got a good job and you can deal with this for 50 months, right? You can keep paying down that loss. 50 times 5, what is it, $25,000? And that's over 4 years and 2 months, right? And you've lost $25,000? That's a whole nother down payment on another property. You need cash flow in order for your business to survive. And to eventually be able to scale the business, you need cash flow. Yes, the equity can help you scale, but you can't have equity without cash flow. You can, but it's not sustainable. Unless if you have, the only people that are talking about cash flow not being king are people that are talking about people who have very high incomes that are using real estate for different ways than we are. So cash flow is 100% king. And especially in markets right now where costs are higher, where the rates have gone up, the taxes have gone up, the insurance has gone up, you're going to lose money on a lot of these markets. And it doesn't make sense for you to buy properties there. So don't buy a property without cash flowing, and be aware that you can buy a property that cash flows today and it can change because of the taxes and the insurance, because this is what happened to me. I focused on cash flow and I still made mistakes from that. So I had properties where that could affect me. So that's the first lesson, and sometimes the most important one. The second thing is to create systems from the start. All right? You want to create systems from the start. Most people think, I only got 1 property, I only got 5 properties, I don't really need to worry about that right now. And while they're right, there will never be a time in the present where creating a system feels like something that's more important than the urgent thing for you to do. But I learned a long time ago that there's a quadrant of things to do. There's urgent and important. There's urgent, not important. There's important, not urgent. And then there's not urgent, not important. A lot of people get stuck on these things, the urgent, important things, but also they get stuck on the things that are urgent, not important. In reality, we should try to do less urgent and not important things, cut out all things that are not urgent and not important, and keep things that are important and not urgent. Systems are important but not urgent. Usually, you'll never need one immediately, okay? But a system is basically how you do anything in your business. And we're kind of at the point now where systems are the only way for you to really start scaling up your business. This could be how you handle when a tenant calls, or how you actually collect rent. And without creating systems, you get stuck at the same output. See, systems allow you to do more over time by investing some time up front to come up with a process and then either offloading it or having software help you. Even now, with the age of AI, this has become even more important, especially with Baselane. Baselane is my go-to platform for managing my rental finances because it keeps everything in one place. I've been using it for 2 years now. It's an integrated banking and bookkeeping platform that's specifically built for rental investors. It acts as your financial hub for your rentals. Every property gets its own checking or savings account. Bookkeeping and rent collection are built right in. Leases are easy to manage, and transactions are automatically organized for you. This way you can save time and focus on buying more rentals. And if you join using my link and deposit $500 of your rental income, they're giving you a chance to win $10,000, which could be your next down payment. To join, click the link in the description. The next lesson is to spend a lot of time focused on location. You've heard the term before. Location, location, location. It can literally make or break an investment. I was looking at duplexes today on a deal that we got, and I assumed that the property would be worth $400 because of what other duplexes I've seen in the area are worth. But because it's on this specific street, in this specific neighborhood, it can maybe go up to $340. That's $60,000 of value, all based off of the location. Now, this happens in a few different ways, right? We have different parts of a city, okay? So let's say this is a city, and maybe this side values are higher, this side values are lower, right? So we obviously want to invest and buy properties for cheaper in the areas where they go up higher. This is important information that you need to know. Now, we don't usually invest in the best areas as investors. We usually try to stick to B-/C+ areas personally. This means that they have low crime, but they're lower income than like the top income areas. So these are people that are working, and those are the people that we target for rentals because we want them to pay us rent. So this is within a city though. But then you also have different cities across the entire country. So investing in New York versus investing in LA, you can look at different data points, or investing in New York versus Springfield, or investing in Springfield versus Detroit. You want to compare different cities because different data will affect the city. I invested in Akron over Cleveland, even though Akron had a lower population. Akron had lower property taxes and lower crime than Cleveland. So for me, it was a better place to invest than it was to invest in Cleveland. So you can use data to help you drive your decisions, qualitative data by seeing the area, but also quantitative data by looking at numbers like crime rates and unemployment rates and population growth. These things matter. And if you spend a lot of time up front focused on location, you end up solving a lot of problems down the line, because the properties you end up buying end up being in good locations, which means their values go up higher, the rents go up higher, and it does a lot of the work for you. Now, it won't make a property that negatively cash flows. Sometimes it can if it appreciates a lot. But a lot of times it will help solve a lot of your time looking at properties that don't work and properties that do work. Now, that leads me to the next thing, which kind of counters our point here, which is focus first. Spread out later. This is the opposite of what I did. Okay, so this lesson is coming straight from someone who made this mistake. What my trajectory was I bought 3 properties in New Jersey in 6 months. And then within the next year, I had 3 properties under contract in 3 different areas across the country, in 3 cities that I had visited for a few hours, okay? So I did not focus first and spread out later. I spread out first, and now I'm focusing later, because I learned that focusing first allows you to learn the whole stack. See, real estate investing has a lot of skills, okay? So let's call a skill 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Some are analyzing deals, some are learning about construction and fixing things up, some are learning about lending, right? And some of these are location focused. So the people that you meet, the laws and regulations. And so it's hard to invest in a new market without knowing how to find the right people, without knowing how to determine the best locations, without knowing how to understand the laws. And so by spreading yourself thin too soon, I basically screwed myself because I didn't have the right people, I didn't know the laws, and everything operated differently. Even though I thought I had my idea, I was like, oh, I could buy property here, I could buy property anywhere. Technically, yes, but I wasn't able to do it right, okay? So there's a few areas in which I want you to focus on first. First is your strategy, okay? Don't go from rentals to fix and flip to BRRRR to wholesaling, all within 4 properties. Do one at a time well. Then focus on your location. Then build systems. Okay, back to here. And once you build systems, test the systems and refine them, and then automate and scale as much as you can with technology and Baselane. And then you can start spreading out to different strategies in that location, or same strategy, different location. Try one new thing. Do not try a bunch of new things. Don't go to a new city, try new strategies all at the same time. It's going to be a lot of learnings and you're going to lead to a lot of mistakes. So don't have that problem. The 5th lesson here is finding deals is the number 1 skill. Money is second, okay? It becomes second. Whereas most people, when they're starting out, they think about, how do I get the money first? And this is exactly where I was, because I was like, there's no point in me looking for properties when I don't have money. Technically, you're right. But the key part that most beginners are missing is that when you have the deal, the money shows up. I have very little money right now. It's invested out into other things. My content business hasn't been doing the best. And so I have very little money right now. Being transparent with you. But guess what? I just got a deal that we won at auction. I had no money for, but we got it. And I found a lender because it was a good deal. A friend of a friend give us 100% of financing to be able to do this, because they are willing to make money. They're going to make money. They know I have the skills. They're going to make money. So you have to worry less about having the money for everything. Even after I bought my first property, I had no money, okay, at this point in time, because I had just invested all in that first property. And so I end up in a position where I wanted to buy more properties, but I had no money. I figured out how to create money by looking at other people's assets. So this, like, getting the money is so much easier than finding the deal, and I never understood this when I started. And you might not understand this while you're listening to this right now. Focus on finding deals. Find deals, the money comes. Find deals, the money comes. And if you can't find the money, you can wholesale it to someone else and sell it that way. The 6th thing, don't try to do it all yourself. Get help where needed. You guys might watch my channel and might think that maybe I'm just a genius or I'm too smart or something like that. Maybe you think I'm dumb. I don't care. But here's my point. You can't do this all by yourself, guys. I have my brother helping with me with accounting. My mom is helping paying the bills. My dad helps review my rehab budgets. I literally did not know how to estimate any rehab budgets if it wasn't for my dad to start off. Now I'm learning a lot and I'm getting a lot better now. I'm starting to be able to estimate on my own. But if I started all by myself, it would take a lot longer, okay? So don't try to do everything by yourself. Feel free to get help. And also, there's never a position where you end up actually doing everything by yourself. You're not going to be able to have all the money. You're not going to be able to find all the deals, have all the time in the world to do all the work yourself, and know all those things. Real estate is a game, is a team sport. You're going to need people in your sport on your team to help you, okay? So don't try to pretend like you knew this. And I actually started knowing this, right? Like, I had a business partner before where Everything went poorly, but that didn't discourage me from having business partners, because the way I look at it is when you have people on your side, you can get through things easier because you have them with you, okay? And so even right now in our business with Matt and Kevin, we're dividing our tasks and we're getting things done. That's just how it is. And I think that we're all providing value in our own different ways. And one last thing is people are like, yeah, but I want to split profits. You can always, it's better to get a portion of something than it is to get a portion of nothing, 100% of nothing. You're going to have nothing left over. So it's better for you to get something than it is to get nothing. Even if you split a property 5 ways, to me, that's better than not having a property, right? You have an asset at the end of the day. And the last thing is, you probably heard this before, your network is your net worth. A lot of people like to build in silence. Again, kind of hitting on the last part here, where they don't tell anyone. They don't connect with anyone. They don't try to help other people. But the more you network and provide value with other people, the more value you get back in return. Let my page be an example of it. I started my page, guys, when I had 1 property under contract. I did not even buy the property yet. But from the jump, what did I do? I tried to help people. I tried to teach people what I learned who were below me. And what did that do? That got people to follow me, which then allowed me to have more value to other people who had more properties than me and more experience than me and were CEOs of companies with me, because they wanted to connect with me, right? Because I had something that they wanted. I had value for them. And so what I noticed that is in this space specifically, real estate, more than other spaces, because I've been in other spaces before, that the more you network and the more you give to other people, the more you get back. Even right now, I'm living in Kevin's house, okay? I'm not paying rent, okay? There's value in that. But I only got to this point because I provided them value first. I started a mastermind and I invited them to it. And I tried to help them on their YouTube channel and on their shorts, teaching them as much as I could. I just tried to be helpful from the beginning. Then after 2 years of being in a mastermind where I connected everyone, they wanted to partner with me. Then after 3 years of being partners together, they wanted me to come here and live here and work and learn under them. This is a huge opportunity I got, but I had to give for years first. A lot of my opportunities came from starting social media because I was able to help people and provide value to them, and they feel indebted to you and they want to help you. I don't like the fact that people feel indebted to me, but I do like the fact that they want to help me down the line. And so this helped me meet lenders, business partners, obviously, CEOs, it doesn't matter. But working on your network is something that you always have to do. Not when you're sleeping, but you have to attend meetups. You have to find ways to position yourself and provide value by giving talks wherever you can and helping those people that you meet everywhere that are like, oh, you're a real estate investor, and you ask them, you answer questions for them. That helps you do that. You give more and you end up getting more in return. I don't know how to explain it other than that. So, which one of these was your favorite? Let me know in the comments below and sign up for Baselane. The link's in the description. I'll catch you all later. Peace.